Before we start, take a look at this clip.
Oh, Clark has to get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud.
1 second left on the clock. Caitlin Clark drives to the basket and gets hammered. Not once, but 4 times. The crowd of 17,000 erupts in disbelief. The announcers fall silent. But the referee standing 3 feet away just watches it happen. No whistle, no explanation, no acknowledgement that the league's biggest star just got mugged in front of a sold-out arena. This wasn't an isolated incident. For months, Clark had been absorbing punishment that would send other superstars to the free throw line. What started as questionable officiating has evolved into something far more sinister, a systematic campaign to humble basketball's newest sensation.
Stakeholders, coaches, governors, and general managers. Those are the people calling all the shots. Many WNBA fans are calling out the referee problem, and they are demanding answers and they are demanding changes. It seems like a lot of them are kind of being told what to do. There are other people pulling the strings above them. What actually happens is that we have a competition committee for stakeholders, coaches, governors, and general managers, and that competition committee is the committee that dictates the state of the game. Officiating in the WNBA became as hot button of an issue as any. Heated debates surrounding the league's physicality dominated the headlines, particularly when Indiana Fever star rookie Caitlin Clark was subject to several intentional fouls. The referees who were refereeing the Fever and Liberty game, that one of the referees seems like his only experience was actually refereeing high school games.
When Clark finally went down with an injury, one of those referees quietly disappeared from the schedule, suspended without explanation. No press release, no accountability. That's when fans stopped asking what happened to Caitlin Clark and started asking why. Because the deeper you dig into this story, the more it looks like the WNBA's golden goose was being systematically torn down by the very league she was saving. From her very first game, something felt off about how Clark was being officiated. Veterans get the benefit of the doubt on 50-50 calls. Superstars get protected when they drive to the rim. Clark got neither. The Connecticut Sun game was particularly egregious. DeWanna Bonner hip-checked Clark mid-shot, sending her sprawling. The replay showed clear contact during the shooting motion, a textbook flagrant foul. The officials reviewed it for 30 seconds and called it a common foul. In Chicago, Clark took a forearm to the throat from Chennedy Carter that left her gasping for air. The referee standing directly behind the play called it a basketball move. Social media exploded with slow-motion replays showing Carter's arm extending well beyond any reasonable defensive action. Basketball analysts started tracking the numbers. Clark was averaging 8.2 drives per game, but only 2.1 free throw attempts, a ratio that defied statistical logic for a player of her aggression and skill level. For comparison, Diana Taurasi in her prime averaged 6.7 free throws on similar drive frequency. The hits kept coming, but the protection never arrived.
If the WNBA is not rigged, they're doing a great job of making it look like it's rigged. Because if you guys didn't see the referees literally, they made a bad call. And if you guys have ever played sports, you know that like when a referee knows they've screwed up, they will do everything they can to not talk to the players. They are running away from the Indiana Fever players, as you can see. Like, it's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Sophie Cunningham. And he's like, no, I'm not looking. No. And you know bad refs, because again, I live in a country where there are good refs and the good refs know who they are, but the standard of refereeing is absolutely shocking. And like I've seen referees be talking to coaches, and then mid-conversation, just when they know they're in the wrong, mid-conversation just turn around and start ignoring players. If it wasn't for the fact that the WNBA is a professional sports league. This would be funny if the WNBA was not a pro sports league. Straight up, it would be funny.
When Clark went down with a quad strain in late August, the injury began to look less like bad luck and more like inevitable consequence. The quad strain didn't happen during a single play. It was the result of accumulated trauma. Weeks of getting knocked around had taken their toll. Team doctors later revealed that Clark had been receiving treatment for various minor injuries throughout the season: shoulder stiffness from repeated contact, hip soreness from uncalled body checks. The medical timeline painted a disturbing picture where each untreated hit had compounded into something bigger. But here's what really raised eyebrows. The WNBA's response to their biggest star getting injured was nothing. No statement expressing concern. Not even a routine "get well soon" tweet from the official league account. For a league riding Clark's popularity to record-breaking numbers, the silence was deafening. The most damning evidence came from the Indiana-New York game that effectively ended Clark's season. With 1.2 seconds left and Indiana down by 1, Clark drove for what should have been the game-winning basket. Natasha Cloud fouled her 4 separate times during the play. Hip check at the three-point line, shoulder contact during the drive, arm grab preventing the shot, forearm across the chest on the follow-through. Each contact was clearly visible. The arena erupted, expecting a whistle that would send Clark to the line for the game-tying free throws. Instead, referee Marcus Williams, standing in perfect position, simply reset the ball and ran the clock out.
All right, you got this athlete in a league that nobody's been watching, never turned a profit, and your system is broken against that team? Are you mental?
The non-call was so egregious that ESPN's broadcast team went silent for a full 10 seconds. Doris Burke called it inexplicable. Even the Liberty bench looked confused. Within 48 hours, Williams was suspended without explanation. He simply disappeared from the officiating schedule, a 7-year veteran with playoff experience, gone after one viral non-call. The timing couldn't have been more suspicious. For weeks, fans had been documenting missed calls against Clark with no response from the league. But the moment a nationally televised non-call went viral, action was taken immediately. It looked less like justice and more like damage control. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert presided over years of declining viewership until Clark arrived and changed everything overnight. Clark's impact in 2 months exceeded Engelbert's accomplishments in 5 years, creating an uncomfortable power dynamic where the rookie overshadowed the commissioner. Veteran players who toiled in obscurity watched a newcomer instantly become the face of their sport. The resentment was palpable. No mentorship, no welcome, just cold shoulders from established stars who felt displaced. Sports media initially downplayed Clark's treatment as rookie hazing. But when Charles Barkley called it embarrassing during a nationally televised broadcast, other voices finally felt permission to speak honestly about the systematic targeting. While injured, Clark documented every missed call and confronted referees from the bench. Her advocacy worked. Officiating suddenly became more balanced in games following her heated exchanges with officials. What started as a story about one player's treatment has evolved into an examination of power structures within the WNBA. Clark's experience exposed uncomfortable truths about how the league operates and who really controls its direction. The systematic nature of Clark's treatment suggests coordination at the highest levels. Referees don't independently decide to ignore fouls against specific players. That kind of consistency requires instruction or at least tacit approval from supervisors. Commissioner Engelbert's silence throughout the controversy speaks volumes. A competent leader would have addressed the concerns, launched investigations, and taken visible steps to protect their biggest star. Instead, Engelbert remained invisible until the pressure became overwhelming. The conspiracy theory that emerges is disturbing but logical. Clark represented a threat to the existing power structure, so that structure fought back. The league's established stars resented her instant success. The commissioner felt threatened by her popularity. The referees received subtle pressure to humble the rookie. The injury that sidelined Clark wasn't just the result of physical contact, it was the inevitable consequence of institutional failure. A league that should have protected its golden goose instead served her up for destruction. The evidence is overwhelming. Caitlin Clark wasn't just facing tough rookie treatment, she was the target of a systematic campaign to diminish her impact on the WNBA. The pattern was too consistent to be accidental. Missed calls that only seemed to affect one player, referee suspensions that happened only after viral outrage, and a commissioner who stayed silent while her league's biggest star was being systematically destroyed. But the conspiracy failed. Clark's popularity never wavered. Fan support only grew stronger. The attempted cover-up became the story itself. The real question isn't whether Clark was targeted. The evidence makes that clear. The question is whether the WNBA will acknowledge what happened and take steps to prevent it from happening again. Because if a league is willing to sacrifice its biggest star to protect fragile egos and threaten power structures, what does that say about its commitment to fairness, competition, and basic human decency? The referees who disappeared? The commissioner who stayed silent? The systematic campaign to humble basketball's brightest star? This isn't just a sports story. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when institutions choose self-preservation over justice. The WNBA got caught. The question now is whether they'll change or double down on the conspiracy of silence that nearly destroyed their own success story. Clark's injury may have ended her rookie season, but it exposed something far more damaging, a league willing to eat its young to feed its insecurities. The story isn't over. It's just getting started.